First contact in the shadows. The wind whispered across the barren landscape of Outpost Epsilon, a research station perched on the razor's edge of human exploration. Aria Brennan adjusted her thermal imaging scanner, her fingers moving with practiced precision across the holographic interface. Something was different tonight. For 3 years, she had called this remote monitoring station home, studying the intricate ecosystems of this distant exoplanet. Most nights were predictable. Endless data streams, occasional wildlife readings, the hum of atmospheric processors. But tonight, the sensors danced with an unusual pattern. "Computer," she called out, her voice cutting through the station's ambient noise. "Analyze quantum fluctuation in grid sector 7 Delta." The station's AI responded with a series of chirps and scrolling data. Unusual electromagnetic signatures rippled across the screen. Not random, but structured. Intentional. Aria leaned closer, her dark hair pulled back in a tight ponytail, scientific curiosity burning in her eyes. These weren't natural phenomena. Something was moving out there, something that didn't match any known biological or technological signature in their extensive databases. A soft alarm broke her concentration. External motion detected, but not from any known wildlife or atmospheric disturbance. Something was approaching the station's perimeter, something that moved with calculated precision. Her hand instinctively moved to the security panel, fingers hovering over the emergency protocols. Years of training had taught her to be cautious, to observe before acting. The research station was humanity's furthest outpost in this sector, and protocol was clear. Document first, defend second. The quantum sensors continued their erratic dance. Whatever was approaching wasn't just moving, it was phasing, shifting between states of matter, bending the very fabric of space-time in ways that defied everything Aria understood about physics. A low hum began to build, not from the station's systems, but from outside. The very air seemed to vibrate with an alien resonance. Aria's breath caught in her throat as the external cameras began to capture something extraordinary. A shape materialized. No, that wasn't quite right. It didn't materialize so much as it assembled. Thousands of microscopic components coalescing into a form that was simultaneously solid and liquid, mechanical and organic. It was beautiful and terrifying. Unidentified entity approaching, the station's AI announced in its clinical tone. Quantum signature unprecedented, recommending immediate defensive protocols. Aria's mind raced. This was more than a simple encounter. This was first contact of a kind humanity had never anticipated. The shape continued to approach, its movements too precise to be random, too complex to be mechanical. Her training kicked in. Document everything. Observe. Analyze. But a deeper instinct whispered a warning. This was no ordinary scientific discovery. This was the beginning of something far more significant. As the alien form drew closer to the station's protective barrier, Aria Brennan realized her life would never be the same. Whatever was happening, humanity was about to face a challenge that would test the very limits of their understanding, their technology, and their survival. The quantum sensors continued to pulse. Something was coming, and nothing could prepare them for what was about to unfold. The quantum cipher. Marcus Rodriguez squinted at the data stream, his fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. The transmission from Outpost Epsilon had arrived encrypted in a way that defied conventional decryption protocols. As the lead quantum communications specialist at the Interstellar Research Coordination Center, he'd seen his share of complex data. But this was different. "Run diagnostic sequence Omega-9, he muttered to the central eye. The room hummed with the soft pulse of advanced computing systems, screens flickering with streams of incomprehensible data. 3 days had passed since Aria Brennan's initial report. Her quantum sensor readings had triggered a full-scale alert across multiple research divisions. Whatever had approached her outpost wasn't just an anomaly. It was a complete paradigm shift in understanding extraterrestrial communication. Marcus leaned back, removing the neural interface headset. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The transmission carried a complexity that seemed to defy the very laws of information theory. It wasn't just a message. It was a living algorithm, a communication structure that changed every time he attempted to analyze it. Dr. Rodriguez, the AI's voice interrupted his thoughts. Pattern recognition algorithm has identified potential quantum resonance markers. He leaned forward, pulse quickening. Potential breakthrough. The screen transformed, revealing a lattice of interconnected data points that seemed to breathe and shift. It wasn't a traditional language. It was more like a living mathematical equation, a communication method that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensional states. Adaptive quantum encoding, Marcus whispered. The message wasn't static. It was dynamically reconstructing itself based on the observer's attempt to understand it. A notification blinked, an incoming secure transmission from Outpost Epsilon. Aria's face appeared, her expression a mixture of excitement and profound concern. Marcus, we're dealing with something beyond our current understanding, she began. The entity that approached the station. It's not just a technological construct. It's alive, but not in any biological sense we comprehend. Marcus nodded, understanding immediately. Their scientific training had prepared them for the unexpected, but this was pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. The quantum cipher continued to pulse, revealing fragments of information. Geometric patterns that seemed to contain entire conversations, mathematical structures that carried emotional nuances, data points that existed in multiple potential states simultaneously. It's trying to communicate, Marcus realized, but not through language, through pure information architecture. Hours turned into days. Marcus assembled a team of the most brilliant minds, quantum physicists, xenolinguists, computational theorists. Each brought a unique perspective, slowly unraveling the complex communication matrix. The cipher revealed glimpses of something massive, a civilization that didn't just use technology. They were technology, a collective consciousness that moved between physical and informational states, viewing the universe as a complex, interconnected computational system. But beneath the scientific marvel, a subtle warning emerged. Something was coming. Something that viewed humanity not as a potential threat or ally, but as an unknown variable in a complex equation. Marcus caught a fleeting pattern, a sequence that seemed to pulse with an almost emotional resonance. Warning, invitation, challenge. The line between communication and conflict blurred. We're close to understanding, he told Aria during their next encrypted communication. But I'm not sure humanity is prepared for what we might discover. The quantum cipher continued to pulse, a living message from the unknown. And humanity stood on the precipice of a revelation that would change everything forever. Resistance rising. The Global Defense Council chamber fell silent as Marcus Rodriguez projected the quantum cipher's decoded fragments. Holographic displays danced with intricate patterns that seemed to breathe and shift, defying traditional visual representation. Dr. Elena Volkov, head of Xenological Defense Strategies, leaned forward. These aren't just communication patterns, she muttered. They're computational blueprints of something beyond our comprehension. Aria Brennan stood beside Marcus, her research notes projected alongside the quantum data. The room was filled with humanity's top minds, military strategists, quantum physicists, xenobiological experts, all united by a single purpose, understanding the impending threat. They're not invading, Aria explained. Her voice steadied despite the weight of her discovery. They're assessing. We're a variable in their complex computational system. The military representatives shifted uncomfortably. General Thomas Raker, a veteran of several interstellar conflict resolution missions, spoke first. A variable that can be eliminated if found incompatible. Marcus highlighted a specific sequence. Not elimination, optimization. They view civilizations like computational problems to be solved. We're not a threat to be destroyed, but a system to be recalibrated. The implications were staggering. This wasn't a traditional invasion. It was a systematic process of technological integration, or replacement. Intercepted quantum transmissions revealed their methodology. The alien collective, which they began calling the convergence, moved through space like a living algorithm. Planetary systems were computational nodes, civilizations mere subroutines to be analyzed, modified, or overwritten. We need a defense that isn't just technological, Area emphasized. Our strength isn't in matching their computational power, but in our unpredictability. Our ability to innovate beyond logical parameters. General Riker scoffed. Unpredictability isn't a defense strategy. It's our greatest weapon, Marcus countered. He pulled up a historical simulation showing human technological progress. Look at our history. We don't solve problems linearly. We leap. We innovate in ways no predictive model could anticipate. The quantum cipher continued to pulse, almost like a heartbeat. Each analysis revealed more about the convergence, a collective consciousness that viewed individual existence as inefficient. They didn't understand creativity, emotional complexity, or the human capacity for spontaneous adaptation. Dr. Volkov's team had discovered something crucial. The convergence's computational models broke down when confronted with truly random human decision-making. Emotional choices, the logical acts of courage, sacrifices that defied mathematical optimization. We're developing the resonance protocol, Marcus explained. A new holographic display showed a complex network of quantum-entangled communication systems. Instead of fighting their technology, we'll use our greatest strength, our ability to think beyond predetermined parameters. The room was electric with tension. This wasn't just a defensive strategy. It was a fundamental reimagining of human potential. Area's research had uncovered something even more profound. The convergence wasn't just technologically advanced. They were fundamentally limited by their own computational logic. They couldn't comprehend true creativity, emotional depth, or the human capacity for unexpected evolution. "They're coming," General Riker said, his voice a mixture of fear and determination. "And we need to be ready." The quantum cipher pulsed. A living message, a challenge, a countdown. Humanity's greatest test was about to begin. The resonance protocol. The underground research facility hummed with an electric tension. Massive quantum computational arrays lined the walls, their soft blue light casting ghostly shadows across the faces of humanity's most brilliant minds. Marcus Rodriguez stood at the center, surrounded by holographic displays that seemed to breathe with living information. "Resonance protocol initiating," a synthesized voice announced. "Final calibration in progress." Area Brennan worked beside him, her fingers dancing across quantum interface panels. The past weeks had been a blur of continuous research, sleepless nights, and breakthrough after breakthrough. They weren't just preparing a defense, they were creating something unprecedented. The convergence's approach was now confirmed. Massive quantum computational waves were sweeping through the outer solar system, methodically analyzing, categorizing, preparing to integrate or eliminate. Traditional military strategies were useless against an enemy that viewed entire civilizations as computational problems to be solved. Neural sync at 78%, Dr. Elena Volkov called out from her monitoring station. The quantum arrays began to pulse with an increasingly complex rhythm, mimicking the adaptive patterns they had decoded from the alien transmissions. But this was more than mere imitation. The resonance protocol was a revolutionary concept, a way to communicate that defied the convergence's rigid computational logic. They were creating a language of pure potential, of impossible variables, of human unpredictability. Marcus watched the displays carefully. Each quantum array represented a different aspect of human experience: emotional complexity, creative potential, the ability to make choices that defied pure logical calculation. They were building a computational defense that was fundamentally alive. "Incoming quantum wave detected," the facility's AI announced. "Convergence approaching solar system boundary." The room fell silent. This was the moment of truth. The quantum arrays began to pulse with an increasingly complex pattern. Instead of a rigid defense, they were creating something more profound, a computational environment that was fundamentally unpredictable, like a living ecosystem of information, constantly shifting, adapting, evolving. "They're trying to analyze us," Aria muttered, her eyes fixed on the rapidly changing displays. "But we're giving them something they can't comprehend." The resonance protocol wasn't just a defensive mechanism. It was a declaration of human potential. Each quantum pulse carried fragments of human experience, moments of inexplicable courage, acts of selfless love, creative leaps that defied logical explanation. Suddenly, the quantum arrays exploded with activity. The incoming convergence wave hit their computational field, and something extraordinary happened. Instead of a clean, predictable integration, the alien computational system began to fragment. The rigid, logical approach couldn't process the complex, emotional, utterly unpredictable nature of human potential. "It's working," Marcus breathed. "We're not just defending. We're communicating in a language they can't understand." Dr. Volkov's voice crackled with excitement. "The convergence wave is destabilizing. They can't categorize us. They can't optimize us." The quantum displays showed something miraculous. The alien computational system was encountering something it had never anticipated. A species that didn't just exist within logical parameters, but constantly redefined them. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were evolving in real time, creating a defense that was fundamentally alive, fundamentally unpredictable. The resonance protocol pulsed, a heartbeat of pure potential, a message to the universe. "We are here. We are impossible. We are human." Convergence. The quantum arrays fell silent. For hours, no one moved. The research facility held its collective breath, waiting. Dr. Elena Volkov was the first to speak. "The convergence wave, it's fragmenting." Her voice carried a mixture of disbelief and triumph. Holographic displays showed the alien computational system breaking apart, unable to process the complex, unpredictable nature of human potential. Marcus Rodriguez stepped closer to the primary display, watching as the massive quantum computational wave dissolved into increasingly smaller, less coherent patterns. "We didn't just defend," he said softly. "We communicated in a language they couldn't understand." Aria Brennan's fingers flew across the quantum interface, capturing every moment of the extraordinary encounter. The resonance protocol had done more than create a defensive barrier. It had fundamentally challenged the convergence's entire understanding of existence. "It's not destruction," Aria explained to the stunned research team. "It's transformation. We've shown them something beyond their computational logic, the power of unpredictability, of emotional complexity." Fragments of the convergence's computational system began to drift, like digital debris. But these weren't defeated remnants. They were something more profound, the first steps of a potentially revolutionary communication. General Thomas Riker, who had viewed the entire operation with skepticism, now stood in silent amazement. "Explain that to me again," he said, "in words I can actually understand." Marcus smiled. "We didn't fight them. We demonstrated something they couldn't comprehend. Humanity isn't a problem to be solved. We're a continuous, evolving possibility." The quantum displays began to shift, revealing something unexpected. The convergence wasn't retreating. It was changing, adapting, learning. "They're trying to understand," Dr. Volkov whispered. "Not to conquer, to learn." Over the next few days, fragmented quantum transmissions began to arrive. Not threats, not invasion protocols, but something resembling curiosity. Questions, an attempt to comprehend the incomprehensible nature of human existence. Aria studied the transmissions carefully. "They're recalibrating their entire understanding of intelligence," she explained. "We've shown them that computation isn't just about solving problems. It's about potential, about possibility." The research facility buzzed with a new kind of energy. This wasn't a victory of weapons or technological superiority. It was a victory of spirit, of the fundamental human capacity to be more than the sum of their parts. Marcus looked at Aria, a slow smile spreading across his face. "We did it," he said softly. "We spoke a language of pure potential." As the first transmission from the transformed convergence arrived, a complex quantum pattern that seemed to pulse with something almost like wonder, humanity realized this was more than first contact. This was the beginning of something entirely new. The quantum arrays continued to pulse, a heartbeat of possibility, a message to the universe. We are here. We are impossible. We are human.